had reached that point where it was time for me to make a change and move on to the next. And I remember I was there and I would just Google like, okay, what do I do next? What am I supposed to be doing? I mean, I'm sitting at my computer like, okay, where do I go next? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I would really pray about it because I was like, I didn't see like I had this vision where I was supposed to be at, but I didn't see exactly how it was going to happen. And I think that's just really where faith comes in. And Steve Harvey talks about this too. He said, you know, faith is really that vision that you have inside of your head. And people would be like, well, a lot of people think that faith is just something that you cannot see, but faith is really that vision inside of your head
Very clear.
and believing that that's going to happen. That's why when you finally put it down on paper and you write it clear, and he says that Habakkuk 2 too. He says write the vision so that those people that are running by can read it. So the way I understood it is that if somebody was running really fast past what you just wrote down, it needs to be so clear that they can read it in 2.5 seconds and go on about their day and really understand what's about to happen. So I had to when I wrote that vision down, um, I didn't know how it was all going to happen, but he there came a time where God pushed me out of my position at the bank and moved me on to the next, and he kept bringing those opportunities. So it's so true. When one door closes, there's always going to be another door open. You're going to go through this
Well, how do
weird
you know
phase.
when? You're manifesting. You're focused. You see yourself, right? And that's going to be my next question for you. But you see yourself, and you're like, man, I don't feel fulfilled. This is great. This is someone's goal. What I'm living right now, this is someone's goal. In fact, this was my goal 7 years ago. But how do you know when to take that leap? How do you know when to jump? You wrote down a vision. You've been focused on it. You're like, I did this. There's more for me. God has shown me more. There's more for me. How do you know when to take that jump?
It's a That's an interesting question. I think it could be different for lots of people, but for me, when it was time to take that jump, I realized that I'm not being I realize that the work that I'm doing is not filling me up anymore. And once I get to the point where I feel like I'm pouring out more than something is pouring into me, then that's how I know it's time for me to move on to the next. And of course, I don't do anything unless I have a deep, in-depth conversation with God, and I make sure everywhere I go, like God is with me. So. I think that's so important. Like, there's no way around that. Like, I would be terrified to go somewhere where God's not.
No, no. You're going somewhere because I know, like, whenever I feel myself making a big decision, one prayer that I pray multiple times a day, first time, as soon as I wake up in the morning is, um, God, I pray that you make it painfully obvious for me, right? And like that could be whatever, right? But I think that when I think it and I look at some of the obstacles that I've gone through in my life, or some of the successes that I've had in my life, I can look at these pillars, I can look at these points, and God showed up here. Okay, I ignored him. Okay, he told me to go do this. Okay, I ignored him. God, make it painfully clear. Make it painfully clear. What do you want me to do next? Show up again. Here's what I want you to do. This is him speaking. See, I think so often that we tell God what we want. We're like, hey, I want this, or I want my life to look like this. But are we listening? Are you receiving those signs? So that's why I think there's someone listening today that want to know, hey, look, when do I take that jump? Hey, I got a comfortable job. I can pay my bills. And maybe it's not money. Maybe it's not work. Maybe it's purpose, right? Which leads me to my next question, which is, how do you look at yourself?
Well, explain that a little bit more. What do you mean? How do I look at myself?
Well, I think that we all see ourselves one way or another, right? So, like, how do you see yourself, right? Like, see, I think that one of the most interesting things in the world is, as a friend, I get to experience you, right? I have my ideology of who you are, but so often I think that let me take it a step back. What I do every 3 months is I like to audit my friendships. I like to audit my relationships. I like to audit my bank account. I like to audit my spirituality because I like to always make sure that I feel filled, right? For a bad example, I'll just say that you check your American Express account and you find out that you've been falsely charged, right? And 3 months have gone by. You're like, okay, cool. Look, this isn't right. Let me reach out to the bank. But I know you and I we've had conversations about this. So when it comes down to friendships, relationships, growth in ourselves, right? Things that we like about ourselves. Obviously, we're at the end of the year right now, going into 2023. How do you see yourself?
Oh man. So I think one thing that I have always prayed about since I was a kid was that I always want to make sure I'm a light in somebody else's life, somehow, some way. Whether I you know, I love to encourage my friends. I love to just a simple morning text like, "Hey man, you're doing a great job. I'm genuinely proud to see you, you know, make those steps that we talked about in the beginning of the podcast." Like, it was a joke at first, but you know, I'm dead serious. Like, I think it's inspiring to see my friends really take these leaps and these steps and work hard for something that they don't even know if it's going to be, you know, successful or not, but they do know. That's the caveat to it. They all know it's going to be super successful. I think that's how you always have to move. No matter what you do, everything's going to be successful. Otherwise, there's a lesson in it that's going to teach you for that next thing. And so one thing I always say is go hard as you possibly can in every single thing that you're doing, whether it's something that's not working or something that is working, because there's a reason for it inside of your future where there's going to be an opportunity that's coming or somebody else is going to need help or something along those lines, that it's all going to end up working together. And if you don't go hard on that one specific second, you're not going to have that knowledge or you're not going to be able to help that other person. And I think, like I said, how I see myself is I always want to be a light. I always want to help other people succeed. I think that's one of gifts that I've been given is to help other people see the light in themselves and see where they should be, their passion or purpose is. I love to see people succeed. I love to see people succeed. I think that is the one thing that fills me up is seeing somebody succeed and seeing somebody really grow at what they were working on. So um, I see myself as a light.
That's and that's perfect. And I think that I want you to talk to that banker, right? There's someone that's they're not you, right? Your path is completely different. They can't be you. They don't need to be you, but they need to be them. But they want to pivot. They want to pivot from having to wear a suit every day to being able to wear a t-shirt. They want to pivot to be able to move from Texas over to LA or wherever they are to LA, or they want to take that next step in their life. They want to get into the entertainment industry. What advice do you have for them?
I think one for one, I'm gonna say this for anybody that wants to get into any other industry or get in any industry or wants to make a move or a leap anywhere. The first thing you do is evaluate your vision, evaluate your spirituality, like you talked about, even evaluate your circle. One, your vision. Did you write your vision down? Do you have clear and concise steps? The biggest thing for me was um, I remember X and I, we started writing we made a vision board together. And she was so adamant about it. And I'm grateful for that moment because I remember in the moment I was like, okay, let's go cut out some magazine pieces and things like that. And it's crazy because it didn't work for a while. And I'm not saying that just putting a piece of paper on a board works. You actually have to do the work and write down the steps. That's where the vision board and the manifestation starts to happen. But her helping me pull it out of my mind and put it actually on a whiteboard and help me understand like what it is exactly that I want to be, even sometimes where I didn't know how to get there. So making the vision clear and concise down to T. Like if you want to live in Seattle, downtown Seattle, in a high-rise apartment with blue walls and a leather couch with I don't know, a blue Mercedes Benz, like be so specific that and when somebody asks you the question, you know exactly what it is. Your spirituality, and then you know, ask God. You should probably ask God before you write it down. Ask God for that vision. Ask God for where He wants you to be, and also dig deep. I think it's important to figure out like what interests you, what fills you up. Where looking back at your childhood and looking back at those things that really inspired you is important, those things that before your parents got into your head, before your friends got into your head, before the media, social media, whatever it may be, before all those things got into your head, kind of think about and even ask your family, like, what were some things that you were interested in? You know what I'm saying? And really like focus on that and figure out what it is that's more than likely the thing that's going to fill you up. And when you start there, you move on to creating the steps. What does it mean to live in Seattle? What does it mean to be in the tech industry? Start learning all the knowledge. Start following things on social media. Use your social media as a tool. instead of using it as entertainment. That's important too. And I fall at that sometimes too. I Something that I have to do probably every 3 month, 3 to 6 months is clean up my social media because I start following, all these comedic accounts that takes up a lot of my time. You know what I'm saying? We all do it. So, but that's important. Once I start noticing I'm spending a lot of time laughing at, I don't know, some random stuff, you know what I'm saying? That's when I feel like I need to start cleaning up my social media, but kind of surrounding yourself before you start making that leap. And that's some of the things that's gonna help you feel more comfortable. Now, in my show, Kinsey, she's a writer on Insecure. Um, and one of the things that she said is I asked about imposter syndrome, and she explained that imposter syndrome is being in the moment and not really believing that you belong to be inside of this position. And I asked her how did you get past the imposter syndrome? One thing that she explained was that she knew that she did the work. She did the work to be where she is today. She studied. She went to school for producing. She went to school for film. She wrote multiple scripts. She was in entertainment back on the East Coast where the entertainment industry wasn't really that big. She did the work. And that's how, when she got that opportunity, like I said, go 100% wherever you are. When you go 100% where you are, I believe the opportunity is going to come regardless if you are ready for it or not. And if you're not ready for it, it's going to pass you up and go to somebody else. And so she was ready for it. She was prepared for it. So when that opportunity came, imposter syndrome did not exist in her. And she went in there and she is a successful writer today. So I think when you get ready to make that move, don't let fear, if you know you did the work, don't let fear um, take you under. You have to fight fear, and then when you get ready to make that jump, just believe that God has a net for you because you did the work. He told you to make the move. You wrote the vision down, and everything's going to work together for good.
That was a long version.
No, I love that. No, no, no. But you gave me what I needed, and part of what I remember is a lot of things I remember from you. But some of the best advice that you gave me, and I want to hear the best advice that you can give to the people that's listening to this show. But some of the best advice that you gave me was to really just be present, to really be steady. You said that someone told you, I don't know who it was, but you said someone told you that life doesn't get better than it is today. It just gets more expensive, and I took that wholeheartedly because I think that some of the experiences that we have, right, like being in LA, living in LA, what have you, we live in great places, but because we're people that strive for more, we always want the best. Our next place is probably going to be more expensive and a little bit nicer than where we live today. But at the end of the day, is it really going to be better? Is it really going to be a better community? Are we ever going to feel more whole? Are we going to have a better house? Maybe, but at the end of the day, we feel whole today because of the relationships that we have, because of our passions, because of the people that we can count on, because of moments like this, for us to be able to share some of the unique moments that we've been through, for better and for worse. So, you saying that life doesn't necessarily get better, it gets more expensive. What other advice can you give people that are listening, or someone has said to you that's been impactful in your life?
Gosh, so that's great. That was some great advice that even I have to struggle with today, but it's always in the back of my head. Another thing that I want to add on to that is stay present. Stay present and enjoy the now. When I learned to stay present and I started meditating and just really focusing on the moment that I'm in today, that really slowed life down a little bit. And there, have you guys ever heard the saying, or have you ever heard the saying that God, this year just flew by, or the summer just flew by, or so and so just flew by? What's really happening is that when you're in this moment right now, you're not focusing on this moment. You're actually focusing on what's next. You're focusing on going to eat. You're focusing on a week from now, your vacation. You're focusing on when you're at that vacation, you're probably focusing on going to eat and then flying home and probably dreading going back to work, or you're focusing on the following year where you think you're going to get a raise and you're going to start making more money. And then once you start making more money, you're going to start focusing on. Do you see where I'm getting at? If you're in the moment, you're never going to enjoy and really notice every moment. And something that's really going to help you focus in the moment is kind of just look around. One, I like to notice my breath. I think it's important to notice my breath. And when you start noticing your breath and listen to your, this is a meditation tactic as well. When you start noticing your breath, that essentially means that you're inside, when you're in the moment and you're just enjoying it. You know what I'm saying? Another thing to help you stay inside the moment is just notice the room. You know what I'm saying? Notice the book. Notice the, I don't know, the yellow sofa. You know, just really notice the moment and notice where you are and take everything in and just sit and be like, wow, this is great. It may not be a good moment at that second, but that bad moment or wherever you're in is always going to pass. It's always going to move on to the next. But if you still are always looking for the next moment, the next moment, the next moment, your life is just going to fly by. You know what I'm saying? So there's going to be a time where you and I aren't going to be sitting on this couch because we're probably going to be across the world or something like that, you know? So I think it's important to, one, be with people that fill you up, and people that you love. So when you're with friends that just always are constantly filling you up, you're not going to want to go to the next moment. You're going to want to be in the same moment with them. You know, your significant other, make sure you're just really living and enjoying your significant other. Things like that is what really helps me like enjoy the moment and enjoy my life even more. Even in times where I'm stressed, I'm like, God, this sucks.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm so stressed out. But you know what I'm saying? Like I also asked for this, right? I asked for this at one point. I asked for all these responsibilities in my life. I asked for being able to pay, you know, my rent to live in LA. I asked for all of this and it sucks at the moment. But just enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? This is life. It's beautiful.
No, I love it. I love it. And, you know, this is like it's just fueling me. It's fueling me, and the reason being is I believe that this show is nothing more than a checkpoint. I hope and pray that we get an opportunity to do another episode. I hope and pray that we get another chance to really
Yeah,
just
definitely.
look back on this opportunity and say, hey, look, this is where we were. Look at where we are today. And it's not to say it in a braggadocious way, but it's to show that faith without works is dead. It's to show that as we go into our next chapter, it will be our best chapter. So I want you to, you know, just deliver on this last point. What's next for you? You know, how can people find you? How can people stay in touch with you? Please let everybody know.
Oh man, so I am wrapping up season one of True Transitions. True Transitions is a show that I created. It is a passion and a vision that God gave me, and the feedback that I've gotten has been, it's been amazing, and it's all just meant to help, just like you. I think that's kind of where we connect. We love to help and see people succeed. And some of the people that I spoken to, they have just really poured into me, and you know, they don't even know it. So, season two, we're starting to plan for season two, True Transitions. I still have three, four more episodes to drop for this season, so definitely check it out on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com/True Transitions, pull it up. It's a great episode. But that's basically it, man. I'm just closing out this year, rewriting my goals, and just ready to hit it hard next year. I can't wait. I'm excited for next year, man. I'm so excited for next year. It's gonna be good, and you know, just some of the things that I went through in the past are really starting to come together, and the seeds I planted are starting to sprout. So it's exciting, man. I got great people, so that's that.
No, that's fire, bro. And what it's about, like we said, man, what it's about is just connecting yourself with just all the right people. I'll be sure to make sure that you have his contact information so that you guys can reach out. But what it's about is just being able to learn from others. I don't want any of us to feel like we're going through this journey alone. It's still so early in the story. So make sure you enjoy the progress, enjoy the process, and enjoy the progress as well while you're trusting the process. So we can do it. We will do it. We just wanted to speak from our vantage point to be able to let you know that we're just like you. We're hungry, we're driven, and we're looking forward to a really big year.
I love it, man.
Appreciate it, brother.
Thank you for having me, bro.